Good morning. How you doing? There's my face. How you doing? Welcome to the show. It's Thursday, FTG Thursday, but I didn't kind of plan around FTGs today because of something I saw this morning on Twitter, and it got me thinking about the question of the day. Oh my goodness, we're already started. Anyway, it's I saw something on Twitter this morning, as I always check Twitter for the breaking news, which we'll do some of that before I get to the main topic. But I saw this and I was thinking about some videos I've watched over the last couple of days regarding this topic, regarding women's sports. And as someone who used to coach sports for both boys and girls, and the big controversy over Leah Thomas and some other transgender athletes participating in women's sports, which is interesting because there's not a whole lot of transgender people participating in men's sports, but in women's sports in particular. The question came up in one of these Steven Crowder Changed My Mind segments is, what's the point of women's sports? So I want to ask that question today. We'll get to that, plus have some of the the general news from the morning that we always look at, and just the regular thing. And then tomorrow, just a reminder, let me see if I got it here. What the hell did I do there? Oh, good Lord. Sometimes that boomer label that I get here, sometimes it truly is appropriate. I didn't have this where I wanted to. Wait, what's going on there? Holy crap. Oh, full screen. There we go. Anyway, as I remind you, tomorrow, the 800th episode of the Morning Night Live with our friends Ruin Leon and Christian Watson, two very highly gifted, talented, intelligent young men. It's funny because the other day I called them kids, I think. I might have called them kids. But to me, they're kids because I'm an old man, right? Compared to some of y'all. Not everybody. And I know a lot of people who watch me are closer to my age than I would expect. But, I'm excited to have these guys here. Like I said, Leon's a funny dude, very smart, and very, very sound thinking young man. And Christian is a cipher. Anyway, they're both smart kids, and it'll be fun. And hopefully we'll have some talk with them tomorrow. Yes, Tyre Alexander. Leon bills himself as the sexiest black YouTuber. So, whatever. Anyway, we'll have those guys tomorrow. And so anyway, that's the show. But the show today is going to be about the normal stuff plus one featured topic regarding what is the point. In fact, ask yourself, what is the point of women's sports? While you're thinking about that during the intro, and after that, then we'll get into it. Johnny, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P. Dog Night on the internet, and I am the sexiest black man on the internet. Okay, I'll let Leon have this self-proclaimed title. Tyre told me yesterday that you can't be sexy if you're old. Old people aren't sexy. They're just handsome. No. Now, come on. You ask some women. Excuse me. I've thought of a couple more people older than me that women consider sexy, okay? How about Denzel Washington? Is Denzel Washington sexy? That's a sexy black man. You ask women and they say he's a sexy black man. He's older than me. How about Well, I was gonna say Michael Jordan, but he's starting to show some of that signs of aging that no, because women think he's sexy, but again, that's some of that is his fame and iconic state, and some of it's just that wallet state. And then there's I don't know, ladies, if in the house, if you're here, who do you think's a sexy older man? I'm just curious. Anyway, why I'm worried about who are sexy older men, I don't know. Anyway, let's say good morning. But before I do that, we do have, oh, wait a minute. What the hell happened here? Good Lord. Why isn't that not working? Holy cripes. Let me fix this first, because that's not right. All right. First, we do have our first sponsor of the show today, and that would be Tall Person. And Tall Person, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sponsoring the show. Who says, Happy National Bunsen Burner Day. I don't know. It's National Bunsen Burner Day. That's what it says. National Bunsen Burner Day. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for sponsoring the show, Tall Person. You are a great American. I think. Wait, are you even American? I'm not sure, 100%. But Bunsen burners are. Now I know what a Bunsen burner is. I had 7th grade science. And I had chemistry in college. Yeah, we used some Bunsen burners. I'm just anyway. Yes, happy National Bunsen Burner Day. That's awesome. You come up with some of the greatest commemorative days on the planet. Thank you for doing that. Anyway, so before we get started, obviously, I'd like to say hello to the troops. First in the chat today, speaking of Tyre Alexander, would be none other than, hang on, why is that still, well, I need to unpin that. Hang on. There we go. I'll put that back on live chat. We're good. All right. First in the chat today was our friend Tyre Alexander. Thank you for being here. What the hell's going on here? You get the bell. The early bird catches the worm bell. Also, good morning, Avocados Diavoli, Mike Savage, Blarg. Also, good morning to Maddie. Tall Person, again, thank you for being the first sponsor of the show today. I appreciate that. Also, good morning, Selecta Boy. Yeah, boy. Also, good morning, Brandon Narlo. Now, that's a new name. I've not seen that name before. And resisting, I need to resist the urge. You know what urge? I'm holding it back. I'm not going to do it. I know someone's going to do it in the chat anyway, but welcome, Brandon. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and click that little bell thingy that pops up so you get notifications, or you can just follow me on any social media. This is for anyone in the chat, by the way. Or if you're not in the chat, if you're just watching, notifications, click the bell, hit the ring and ringy thingy when you click the subscribe thing. And also any social media sites, Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parler, Cloud Hub, Getter, Parler. No Truth Social though. I'm telling you, I'm a little bit wary about Truth Social because I just think it's a marketing gimmick. Well, all social media is marketing gimmicks in a way, but Truth Social, I get too many emails from all the other ones too. And Truth Social just seems like, especially when I started getting emails from the RNC wondering if I'm signing up for Truth Social. I'm like, no. I mean, some of these other ones are already echo chambers, and if Truth Social is just now I might look now. Let me. I know I'm on a side here. I'll finish saying good morning, everybody. Now, Elon Musk has talked about putting together a social media site too, right? And that maybe I would consider, just depending on what's going on. I wish he'd buy Twitter. And what would be awesome? Okay, so Elon Musk buys Twitter, right? And then he unbans everybody who's ever been banned from Twitter. Now, I'm sure most of the Twitter staff would quit if that happened, but I'm sure he could find some other tech people to work at Twitter. But that would be, I think, the best thing he could do, because there's just a flood of these little Twitter clone sites, and I just can't. Yeah, they're too hard to manage. I mean, I do put notifications out. So if you get kicked off of Twitter, for example, if you're on Twitter and you get kicked off Twitter and you're not comfortable with the notification system on YouTube, and you want to get notifications, I put a notification out on every one of those social media sites that I named. But it's getting a little cluttered up in here. I'm saying. Anyway, let me finish the hellos here. Also, good morning to Rotten Corpse. Good to see you. Somnambule Nation. Also, Aaron Meredith, Kay Shull, Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer and watcher of the Morning Night Live. Also, good morning, Hazmat Sad Boy. That's another new name. Like I said, if you're new, hit the subscribe. See there, right there, that thing right there. Hit the subscribe button, and even do that too. You can like the thing too, because I guarantee you'll like this eventually. Also, good morning to who else is here? Septus Wolf, Road Dog, what's up? And tall person, I already said. My favorite Canadians in the house, Jaeger Pony. Nice to have you, sir. And I think that's it. Is that everybody? That's kind of. Oh no, there's more people. Tex AG's here. Tyler F is here. Rockhopper, Septus Wolf, DI Freighter Watcher. And I think I got caught up in Chicago Mike. Okay, and why are you so angry? No, that's not, for those who are new, that's a person. That's not a question. Oh, and 3-4 Yoda, what's up? Good morning. All right, I think I got them all. If I missed you, tomorrow I'm hoping. Oh, by the way, about that thing tomorrow. Now, we, usually end up with 30 people in here and there. But tomorrow, with a guest, I've asked my guest to also notify their followers that we're doing this tomorrow. But I would really love it. It would be really cool. 800th episode. It'd be really cool to have 800 people in this chat or watching the show. Now, that's probably not going to happen, but it'd be cool anyway. And if y'all can just do me a favor, spread the fact that we're doing this 800th show tomorrow far and wide. If you happen to have any connections with any bigger YouTubers or whatever, tell them to send their forces over here, because I'm one of the very few people who regularly streams in the morning, except for Crowder. Now, the Crowder's already, he's got 5-6 million followers, and he gets about 30,000 people watching Crowder every morning. But he's only Monday through Thursday. In fact, I've been thinking about having him on a Friday, having him, because he doesn't do his show on Fridays. But so if anyone has an in with Crowder, I'd love to have him as a guest too. But on Fridays, we're normally going to have guests, and we're going to, just to change things up a little bit around here. So anyway, all right, let's get into the show. Let's get into. I didn't do. I didn't do this. Let's see. Is there anything? I'm just checking the old Explore tab here, making sure that I'm not missing anything. Kelly Clarkson has officially changed her name to Kelly Brienne. Great. Sounds like a porn star name. Anyway, Daniel Radcliffe and Sandra Bullock on their traumatizing red carpet experiences. Oh no. You know what? I don't care about celebrity shit. Anyway, let's get into the news, and then we'll get into the topic of the day. Reminder, tomorrow streaming the 800th episode. It's on my Twitter feed. I got a couple short videos for that too. In fact, I'll play one at the end or something. Let's get into the news. The Ukrainian government has sent buses to evacuate citizens from Mariupol after Russia agreed to open a humanitarian corridor. Now, they keep saying that it's weird because every time they say they open one of these humanitarian corridors, then there's reports that somebody set fire or shot into or sent missiles into these humanitarian corridors. I don't know what this means. Is there going to be another propaganda thing tomorrow or not? But anyway, the Ukrainian government is sending 45 buses on Thursday to take civilians away from the besieged city of Mariupol, where evacuation efforts will be joined by Red Cross teams with aid supply. We don't need any aids supplied to anybody. Just aid supply. According to Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk, President Vladimir Zelensky said Ukraine is preparing for a new Russian offensive in the eastern region of the country and pledged to fight for every meter of Ukrainian territory, per Al Jazeera. At least 13 people have been injured in shelling in the eastern region of Donetsk, local authorities say. And then there's several other articles here. I'm not going to get into too much of this. Ukrainian photojournalist has been keeping a visual diary of war since Russia invaded. My biggest fear is Russia would rewrite history again and again as it did before. So anyway, you can see that area for yourself. Also in the news, Jada Pinkett Smith has finally spoken since the slap. Trademark. Oh my God. Now, look how this is being framed. Jada Pinkett Smith breaks silence after her husband Will slapped Chris Rock following an alopecia joke. Really? Was it an alopecia joke? What? What? How was that an alopecia? You know what? All he said, it was a G.I. Jane joke. In fact, you know how Chris could have recovered from that a lot faster before Will slapped him? If he would have just, as soon as she gave the look, because I thought the look she gave was for comedic purposes, the little dirty look while Will was laughing at the joke. If Chris Rock, instead of saying it was a G.I. Jane joke, all he would have to do is said, you're looking kind of fit. You're looking kind of buff there, kind of like G.I. Jane. It's not just the hair. Because remember, Chris Rock did a whole feature film, cartoon movie called something about bad hair, some shit. Anyway, it was a bald woman joke. Right, it wasn't an alopecia joke. It was a bald woman joke. And it wasn't making fun of the alopecia. Good God. Anyway, taking to Instagram this afternoon, she shared a post which read, "This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it." Well, I hope Chris Rock's jaw is healing, or at least the skin on his face that when Will tried to slap the black off him. Anyway, good morning, Anna Lynn. Just think of the money she will save not having to wax. Oh, my God. I'm not reading that shit. Anyway. Man, I hate the media. I do too. No, it was a bald woman joke. What a ridiculous headline. Yes, it's a crazy headline. It was a crazy. And you know what? She could. You're right. Why are you so angry? She could do a remake of G.I. Jane. And I might even see it. I thought, the movie was kind of far-fetched. But anyway, anyway, so let's see, here's RSVP magazine. I'm not sure what the hell RSVP magazine. Broke silence. This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it. Oh, so stunning and brave. There was no caption on the post, which Jada turned the comments. Oh, she turned the comments off too, because she get dragged. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Can I take my... Never mind, I'm not going to say it. We've all heard it before. Let's see. Oscars host and comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's hair by telling her he was excited to see her in G.I. Jane, which is a reference to how actress Demi Moore shaved her head for the role. It was such a tame joke, too. Such a tame joke. Jada, who suffers from alopecia, didn't see the funny side and looked upset as she rolled her eyes. No, she didn't. At first, she smiled slightly. Then she gave one of those looks like this because the camera was on her. I thought it was for comedic purposes. I don't think she was really mad about it. That's why I think that's bullshit. This prompted Will to storm the stage. Oh, yes. This prompted Will to storm the stage and slap Chris across the face. No, your lack of self-control and your emotions over how... because you couldn't slap Jada for all the shit she's been putting you through, and it just bubbled up. Hello, Isabella. How you doing? Good Hair. That's what it's called. That was that movie. Yeah, Good Hair. Good Hair. He got into a lot of trouble making that documentary. Did he? Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway. So anyway, if you give a shit, you can read the rest yourself. But Will Smith's in trouble again. Did you hear what happened at the BAFTA Awards? And I'm not just talking about the joke that the used to be heavy Australian woman said. But watch, I'm gonna show you right here because he got in trouble at the BAFTA Awards. Here, watch this. Watch this.
She's proud to call herself a feminist, but we all know she's a witch.
Oh, now at the BAFTA Awards. What is it? The British. I just call it the British Oscars. I have no idea what BAFTA stands for. But look at this. Watch what happened at the BAFTA Awards. And if you're not sure who Emma Watson is, she's Hermione. Hermione. That's why she's really the joke. She's really a witch. Hermione. Get it? She was in Harry Potter. If you didn't know Hermione. Well, okay, never mind. Anyway, here, watch. Will Smith gets in trouble here. Watch.
I'm here for all of the witches.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
Damn, 2 award shows in a row. What the hell is going on? What the hell's going on? Will Smith, you got to get control of your emotions, brother. I'm saying. Okay, anyway. Maxine Waters is trending this morning on Twitter. Now, I'm pretty sure, and then I'll just go right here. Here's Maxine Waters. She's trending on Twitter, and apparently she warned a reporter about an LA homeless story. You'll hurt yourself. Maxine Waters, California, tried to stop the publication of a news story about Los Angeles homeless crisis this week, reportedly telling a Los Angeles Times scribe, "You'll hurt yourself and the community trying to put this together." Oh, really, Maxine? The Wednesday story by investigative reporter Connor Sheets detailed a March 25th incident in South Los Angeles where hundreds of homeless people tried to obtain Section 8 housing vouchers after being misled by social media rumors. The would-be applicants crashed an event held by a nonprofit advocacy group, Fathers and Mothers Who Care, which had been meant to help the unhoused obtain emergency shelter. That's an interesting way, the unhoused. The confusion reportedly overwhelmed the nonprofit as well as Los Angeles Housing Services Authority workers who told the unexpected arrivals that they would only be able to provide their information and enter an emergency housing database. At one point, Waters told the crowd, so apparently Maxine Waters was there. Waters told the crowd, "I want everybody to go home," triggering an angry response. We don't got no home. That's why we're here," one member of the crowd yelled back. According to the LA Times, "What home we gonna go to?" Waters reportedly responded by laughing and saying, "Nothing is going to happen today." Now, she laughed. Oh, she laughed. Okay. Hello, Jedi Ghost Bear, by the way. She laughed and said nothing's going to happen today. Soon after, Waters appeared to grow frustrated by a question from local housing advocacy nonprofit. From a local housing advocacy nonprofit. Housing, he's right. No, housing is a responsibility you have for your family. Anyway, hello, Asian Research Directorate. Excuse me. There's nobody in Washington. She got mad about the question. Excuse me. There's nobody in Washington who works for their people any fucking harder than I do, she said. I don't want to hear this. No. Oh, yeah. Is it? Wait a minute. Now, hold up. Let me ask you something. Because I'm pretty sure this may or may not be the same Maxine Waters. Doesn't Maxine Waters, first of all, because she's been the representative in her district of part of Long Beach, and I think it's Long Beach. It's part of South Central LA, right? But she doesn't live in South Central LA. She lives she lives somewhere else, and she has a big old mansion. Her husband has become very, very wealthy in the banking industry, seemingly because Maxine Waters has put in bills that have been very favorable to his banking business. And so they are very, 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 very wealthy and do not live basically in the district that she represents, because there's a lot of people who I would say, people of lesser income abilities and people who don't live in homes live in her district. And so it doesn't look good. So she's saying, oh, nobody in Washington works for their people any fucking harder than I do. Well, by the way, good morning, GDSOB. Welcome. Nice to see you. One homeless disabled woman, Joyce Burnett, told The Times that Waters instructed the crowd to come back to the South Angeles office the following Tuesday with appropriate documents. Quote, Maxine Waters was here and she said to come back Tuesday with our paperwork filled out. Burnett said, I have it, everything they asked for, but every time we get near the front of the line, they shut the door. They opened the door about 20 minutes ago and they said they're not servicing anyone else that day. When contacted by the Los Angeles Times Tuesday, Waters requested the story not be published, saying it's a bunch of rumors. Now, it's interesting because the Times reporters were there asking people questions. So the idea that it's a bunch of rumors, well, because you're not supposed to believe what you see with your own eyes. She says, you'll hurt yourself and the community trying to put this together without background, she told Sheets, according to the report. I don't want you to start trying to write it. You won't understand it. Bianca Jimenez, Waters District Director, responded to questions from the outlet by providing a link to local TV station's glowing coverage of Waters' appearance at the Friday event, along with an image of Waters addressing the crowd. Someone shared this photo with The Office, Jimenez wrote, isn't she brave? Did she really say that? Stunning and brave. Okay, so that, I'm sorry, I didn't put the article back up, but that's okay. Well, my friend Politibunny over at Twitter, or Twitchy, excuse me, made a Twitchy story out of this because apparently there's people just dragging Maxine Waters on, let's get this on the screen. Damn, what's going on, Mart? There we go. Apparently it got caught up on Twitter. People started talking about it on Twitter. And so Jessica Martinez is Jessica Martinez? Oh, is this the woman? Wait a minute. Let me go back to this article. Oh no, Bianca Jimenez. That's the director. Who is Jessica Martinez? Well, anyway, for decades, Democrats have been pretending to be the party that cares about the poor. They care so much about the downtrodden, ignored, blue-collar workers, the minorities, the homeless, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what we're seeing more and more, especially with old Sleepy Joe. Come on, man. Whoa, what the hell is that? Oh, come on. Get off my... That's Washington. The New York Post puts shit up there. Anyway, they don't really care. They are happy to be in power. They use your travails as a bludgeon to bludgeon Republicans, and yet they don't really do shit for you. So it's rare that Democrats let their masks slip this badly and this blatantly. Maxine Waters really stepped in at this time. And this is here, I'll put the article from the LA Times in there. You can read that. The article is called LA's Homeless Crisis Boils Over, Pain, Confusion, Anger, and a Congressional F-bomb. Because well, let's see this thing here. This is 2 minutes, 34 seconds. This video is an excerpt of the event. It contains some text, graphics, not added by the Times. So let's see what this is. Is there media?
Yesterday is when I saw people standing on the street and they thought they could get...
Sorry, I just had to... Okay, go.
Section 8 vouchers here.
Right.
You cannot get Section 8 vouchers here.
But who put that information?
Section 8 vouchers is a long line. We are fighting in Washington in something called the Build Back Better program. I put $25 billion that we're...
Wait, the Build Back Better program, that shit didn't
With our
pass.
unique tub
Oh,
over tub
get off my
installation in just a day,
screen, you
Bath Fitter
stupid
doesn't
ad.
just fit your bath. It
What
fits
the
your
hell?
busy schedule.
Okay, it's only
Why
10
have
seconds
over
long.
2 million people welcomed Bath Fitter into their
Bath
homes?
Fitter,
It just fits. Bath Fitter. Call
whatever.
now or visit
God, I
bathfitter.com
hate
to
that.
book your free consultation.
Anyway, here's the rest of it.
Fighting to give people more Section 8. Now, the money that is available is for the absolute homeless under the emergency program. And that's what you started signing up for today. But because it could not be organized in a way, the workers that we forced to come down here from LASA and place to take the applications, they have put down their laptops and they are gone. There are no more applications coming
Move
in.
locations, Maxine, because I'm hearing one is on Wilshire.
What is
Did
that?
they move another location where they're taking apps? Is there any more locations than this one?
It might have been just so many people out here.
One minute. I want everybody to go home. And I want
We don't got no home. That's why we here. Miss McKinney, Miss
Oh,
Willis,
jeez.
home we gonna go to?
just a moment.
It might have been so
Just
many
a moment.
people out here.
Nothing
They
is
just
going
went
to
somewhere else.
happen
They
here
didn't want
today.
to mess with it.
Nothing is going to happen anymore today.
What about
But
all these names?
what we're
and
gonna,
telephone
well, that's what
numbers
we
that
give.
Well, can you leave
Okay, so she's taking a little bit of a beating here.
Now,
Now,
that's why I'm here, and so I will be downtown
Let's see if they-
with LASA. I will get the housing authority. That's why they came out here today. I made them come out here, and I'm going to go.
And you need to know why
and-
they're failing, because Blanca Jimenez repeated, we gave her several meeting requests for you concerning this in LASA for years.
Blanca
And
Jimenez is,
there's nobody in Washington
sorry.
who works for their people in a harder than I do.
okay. Oh, they bleeped out the F-bomb. I wanted the F-bomb. Damn. Anyway, this is her complaint. Look, what apparently happened here, whoever organized this event, somebody put out information about the event that was incorrect. So a lot of people showed up, but you can read the whole story. Oh, wait, no, is this one of these? No, this is not firewalled. So you can, okay, whatever. So this is not a firewall because I have the Los Angeles Times article. It'll be in the tabs below. So there you go. All right, let's see here. What do I got? So I got, oh, this is just, I was just exploring the old internets. All right, let's, Brett Hayes, good morning. Wait,
My name is Helen Bereket.
Shut up!
photographer and
Stop
content
putting
creator.
ads on my damn thing! God. Dang it. Okay, sorry. Yes, they will vote for her again. They will vote for her over and over and over again. Good morning, Lord Stanhope. I said Asian Research Directorate, Brent Hayes, and got GD. Okay. And Jada Clay. What's happened? So here's the other thing about this. Now, I'm gonna give Maxine Waters this much credit. Okay. She went down there. Well, okay. I'm going to give her credit and then I'm going to tell you why it probably doesn't mean anything. She went down there at this event and trying to help people, right? Now, very well could have just been a photo op that turned out bad for her. But she was down there, it's not really even her purview. This is the Los Angeles County function, right? Congress doesn't, your congressperson has really nothing to do with how county officials set up their, the welfare stuff. She's not an official who's down there taking applications and filing names and shit. She's down there just as their congressperson, but it turned out to be exactly, Jada Clay, a failed publicity stunt on her part, right? But she's there, it's because she don't live in there. She don't live around there. She didn't live in that part. She lives in her mansion, and these people are, trying to find a place to live. So anyway, okay, this is funny. This is something that wasn't on my list before, but I just caught some breaking news here. Apparently, Ukrainian soldiers are getting a slight reprimand because Apparently, new evidence suggests that mobile networks are now being weaponized as an instrument of war in the current conflict, as each side's are tracking soldiers' phones. So how are phones tracked on the battlefield? Devices called cell site simulators, which mimic a phone mast or station. What the fuck? Where is that coming from? Jesus. I might have to turn off that LA Times site. We'll just... Oh, good God. What I'll do... I don't know how to turn that off. Anyway, so the soldiers are being told to turn their phones off while they're on the battlefield because they're calling their girlfriends and shit from the battlefield. If that ain't some millennial shit, keep your phones off while Ukrainian troops are being told, don't call your girlfriends from the battlefield. Electronic warfare is playing a prominent role in the fighting in Ukraine, and it might help explain some of Russia's military tactics. A Sky Digital investigation is reporting. So I'll have that in the tabs too. Real quick, thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
For sponsoring the show today, and you are also one of the Streamlabs Superstar sponsors of the day.
Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
There you go. Who says Will Smith is worried about a comedian having his wife's name in his mouth. Too bad he wasn't worried about her son's friends having his dick in her mouth. Will stop being a cuck and let Ho go, because she'll never respect or love you.
That's right.
Repeal the 19th.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, for your often spicy and sometimes often poignant commentary. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else before I get into the topic today? Because I'm running out of time here. Apparently, cotton with the reality, not the time for Biden to lose. What? I don't know what that means. All right, I'm just gonna close these. All right, here's what I wanted to talk about today. So as I said earlier, check your logic. What's happening? How you doing? As I was talking about earlier, so this is the tweet that I saw this morning that got me thinking about the topic of the day. So apparently this transgender athlete has recently become eligible to compete in women's events and is set to compete against some of Great Britain's leading female cyclists this week. And it's interesting because they used fairly, I don't know if the word's scientific. They use the correct terminology in this, which often they fail to do. So there's this article in the Times of London. Trans cyclist Emily Bridges faces Olympic winner Laura Kenny. A transgender athlete who has recently become eligible to compete in women's events is set to compete against some of Great Britain's leading female cyclists this week. Emily Bridges, 21, has been included on the entry list for the National Omnium Championships to be held at the Derby Arena on Saturday, along with Dame Laura Kenny, the 5-time Olympic champion. Last month, Bridges, who began hormone therapy just last year, won the men's point race at the British University's Championship in Glasgow. She is now eligible to comply. I'm just using the language they have here. She is now eligible to comply with British cycling's requirements to have had testosterone levels below 5 nanomoles per liter for a 12-month period. Before beginning her transition, Bridges set the national juniors men's record over 25 miles and was selected in 2019 onto British Cycling Senior Academy, a pathway for Olympic hopefuls. The record of 47 minutes and 27 seconds was more than 2 minutes quicker than the female senior record over 25 miles at 49 minutes, 28 seconds held by Haley Simmons. Bridges recently told Cycling Weekly that she had always hoped to be able to compete against women. It was always the plan, she said. After starting hormone therapy, I didn't want to race in the male category anymore than I had to. It sucks as racing as a man when you're not one. It was quickly apparent that that was the wrong category for me. I know, I see y'all in there with the he's and his and shit. I'm just reading the article as written. The inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports has become a controversial subject. Oh, has it now? If someone has been through male puberty, that is not reversible. Fiona McKenna, sports campaign director of Fair Play for Women, said. British Cycling updated its policy on transgender inclusion in January after wide-ranging consultation, while conceding that further scientific research into the subject is required. British Cycling said, "We believe that the updated policy reflects the current evidence available to us. However, we acknowledge that more research into the area is required." Then why have they approved this? I'm curious. In September, the Sports Council Equality Group delivered guidance for community sports, stating that testosterone suppression is unlikely to guarantee fairness between transgender women and natal females in gender-affected sports. Now, which leads me to the question, what is the purpose of women's sports? And that question came up because the reason that I'm asking that, and that's the question that came up too, is because Steven Crowder recently did a couple of these Change My Minds, right? Where the question is biological male. His premise is biological males should not compete in women's sports. And he got in a conversation with this professor dude here, this dude who came in and thought he was going to ambush Crowder with some stats, right? And they got to the question of what is the purpose of women's sports, right? And something that's this guy, the guy in the picture, asked Crowder that question. And Crowder's answer actually left something to be desired, because Crowder said, well, then he got the purpose of sports. What is the purpose of sports? To win, right? And I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, what's the purpose of women's sports? Well, the purpose of women's sports is because there's a physiological difference between human males and human females. And so human males, at every level of expertise, particularly at the upper levels, right? At the highest levels, so far have always, well, there's a couple minor exceptions that have been, those records have been broken, but have always performed at a higher level when you're taking what the, measurements of any given sport, right? So faster, stronger, and so on and so forth. And so the purpose, in my mind, of women's sports is to create a category in which a human being of a different physiological nature, even though they're both human beings, would have the same ability to rise to a certain level, right? Because we know that there are advantages that men have. Now, granted, not every man can compete with every woman. Because there are women in disciplines that they have done for years, and there are men who are fat and slow, right? Like me. Or old, like myself, for example. You don't have divisions where a 70-year-old is competing against 30-year-olds, because the atrophy of 70-year-old skills make it so that they cannot compete on a one-to-one basis, right? Well, the purpose of women's sports is because the physiological differences make it impossible for women to compete with the top at the highest levels with men, right? And that seems to me the reason there is even a division in women's sports. For example, we also divide sports sometimes by age, right? So when we're, for example, as children grow up, when we say, let's say I coach basketball, for example, we do not generally have third graders competing against sixth graders, right? And because there's a whole different level of skill between a third grader, or ability or potential ability between a third grader and a sixth grader because of normal human development. And that goes for every age level, that goes for each sex, correct? So I was thinking too, now there's an interesting thing that happened recently, and it has to do with Leah Thomas. Now we all know about Leah Thomas, right? The swimmer that is an NCAA champion in the women's 500-yard freestyle, right? And there's this controversy with Leah Thomas. And this is part of the debate. Now, I didn't even think about this when it happened, but at the Ivy League, don't need this on the screen yet. At the Ivy League swimming championships, prior to the NCAA championships, Leah Thomas swam in the women's division. Leah Thomas, a physiological male, but psychologically woman, has self-proclaimed Leah Thomas to be a woman. So, and taking hormones and swimming in the women's division after 3 years of swimming in the men's division. Leah Thomas swam in the women's division, right? Physiological male swimming in the women's division. Now, Leah Thomas wins one event with an NCAA record time, and then also placed in two other events. Placed 8th in the 100-meter freestyle, and I think 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th in the 200-meter freestyle. So Leah Thomas didn't win every event, despite the fact that a physiological male does have advantage. Especially, here's something about Leah Thomas also. So Leah Thomas swimming in the men's division for 3 years, and having gone through puberty and everything, and division in the same event, but in the men's division. Even if the atrophy of some muscle mass and bone density happens when you're on hormones, there are certain things you don't get rid of. You don't get rid of your lung capacity. You don't get rid of the physical length, and there's certain levels, the long fiber muscles, whatever, that make swimming a little bit easier for men. Doesn't have to take as many breaths because Leah Thomas's lungs are naturally larger than the women she's swimming against. But something interesting that I haven't heard anyone mention. So in the Ivy League Championship, do you remember when Leah Thomas was swimming? I believe it was the 100 freestyle. Leah Thomas won the 500 to 200 in record time. However, Leah Thomas came in 2nd in the 100 freestyle. Now, do you remember who Leah Thomas lost to? Now, I don't necessarily know the person's name. In fact, let's look this up. Maybe we can find it here. Ivy League swimming championships. All right, here we go. Let's just take a quick look at this. Because Leah Thomas lost to a swimmer from Yale in the... Do they have this in here? No, they don't have it on here. I don't necessarily look at it. Leah Thomas lost to a transgender man in the Ivy League swimming championships in the 100 meter. Now, this brings up a question. Yes, it was a trans man, Tyler Alexander. Why is it that Leah Thomas a transgender woman, because everyone says trans women are women, swimming in the women's event, why was there a man swimming in the women's event in the Ivy League championships? If trans women are women, aren't trans men men? Why does a trans man have the option of swimming against women? Huh? So it brings me, this is not about, I don't think they're really thinking about this. First of all, the reason you have women's, and my answer to why do we have women's sports is because of the physiological difference between men and women, or males and female, whatever you want to call it. Most of us, people my age, use those interchangeably. Obviously, there's gender ideology that tells you that male and men and females and women are all different terms. Okay, they're not. They want you to say that there's no correspondence between those terms. Okay, fine. So, but the reason that sports are divided is because the physiology differences, not the psychological differences. Okay, not the psychological social differences that Leah Thomas or this cyclist, what's the cyclist's name? Emily Bridges, who are physiologically male, claim to be women or self-identify. Self-identify too. That's the other part. Okay. So there is no criteria, because it goes back to that question that apparently not even a Supreme Court justice candidate can answer. What is a woman? Right? But why is it that the trans man, because trans men are men, why can a man swim in the Ivy League swimming championships? Yeah, that's weird. Shouldn't that title be stripped away? And Leah Thomas is the actual. Oh wait, did she come in third? Leah Thomas may have come in third in that. No, she came in second. So shouldn't that Ivy League championship belong to Leah Thomas? I'm just curious. Anyway, thank you, Tyler Alexander. With that drop in the tip jar, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, who says, all this is proof the left has no morals and our power-hungry madmen and our power-hungry madmen. Maxine isn't helping anything or anyone. She is virtue signaling while keeping these people sucking from the government nipple. FTG Maxine and FTG Biden. That one by proxy. Thank you very much, sir, for sponsoring the show. And you're fine American. So, anyway, Avocado Diablo, I'm a woman. I think possibly, maybe. Hear me roar. Yeah, it kind of does take away from all those songs. But, so anyway, the Times of London, from March 27th, Leah Thomas, the success of transgender athlete has thrust sport into a charged debate that no one seems capable of resolving. Why? Why can nobody resolve this? Is it because we have to have this kind of woke ideology that you have to have now to function in society? You can't. It's like, because we have to validate everybody now. I don't understand that. I've never understood it. I don't think we should be rude to people, but why are we forced to validate everything when, you gotta follow the science on stupid 19 or climate change or other shit, and yet you have no criteria or no definition for woman. So science cannot define what a woman is? That's what I don't understand. There is no, you say science, believe the science. Well, there's no science here then. You're saying that it's 100% subjective in order to be in a category that we've had a name for thousands of years in every society. Now, granted, other societies have had so-called other genders, right? But other societies haven't had, in general, more than two sexes. Granted, there are anomalies regarding sex. Sex is not a spectrum. 0.018% of people are in that category known as, intersex. 0.018%. Or 0.018% are in that category of intersex. Okay? Extremely rare conditions. Basically, and it's funny because now you can't even say it's a birth defect. Did you know you can't use the word birth defect anymore? Because, no, there's no such thing as defective people. That's not a judgment. It's a term of an anomaly in human existence. It's an anomaly that is not completely unheard of, because there is a tiny percent of people who are under this category of the anomaly of intersex, but it doesn't make it a new sex. It doesn't make it a different sex, okay? It's a condition because of a chromosomal anomaly. It's not a new sex. So you can't say it's on a spectrum. It's not a new sex. And in fact, intersex people who still have a Y chromosome, even if there are extra X's or extra Y's, are still that sex that has the Y. And if they have all X's, they're still the sex that has the X. As far as mammal classification in the kingdom of animals, and we are mammals, okay? So it's a birth oopsie. Yeah, birth oopsie. So it's almost as if, though, you can deny science as to not hurt someone's feelings. Because it's interesting. One of the, let's see, did I keep this tweet up? I don't know if I did or not. Here, I'll do this. We'll copy and save this one. Now, when I saw this, it was in response to someone here that was, oh, hang on, that's not it. Maybe I have it in my bookmarks. Hang on. Did I save it? No. Maybe I can find it. Here, I know someone else is talking about it. Hang on a second.
Hey.
Oh, good God. I wish I knew where that was coming from. That's driving me nuts. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Give me a moment. Here it is. Sorry about that. So, and someone replying, because this came up, and so someone here was saying, this Mara Yama something-y, said presumably a female cyclist has been excluded from this women's race on Saturday because a male will be in it. If Bridges comes, even if Bridges comes last, that is Emily Bridges, the male who is a trans woman racing in this cycling race, a female will have been excluded from an opportunity to race in their own category, in her own category. To which this person replies, quote, because a male will be in it. What's the need? All this is doing is encouraging hate. A message can be made and a point put across simply with integrity and not becoming personal. I just can't understand need to be so clearly unpleasant. And I'm like, what? So now you cannot even point out that Emily Bridges has male physiology? Does Emily Bridges know that Emily Bridges has male physiology? That's the other thing. So we're forced to, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to be hateful. I want people to be able to live their lives. However, are we not allowed to talk about reality? That's all I'm asking. Are we not allowed to talk about reality? To
me, a great family photo shows the essence of a family. It captures something more than just smiles.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Some kind of truth.
It's got to be the New York Post. It is. That's it right there. That's why. Okay, we're going to move the New York Post to the bottom where no ads will pop up, so maybe it won't happen anymore. Why is it? Because, look, I'm pretty sure that most trans people know that they transitioned. And they know what their physiology is. Thank you, Jada Clay. We'll see you later. They know what their physiology is, right? Do you think trans people know what their physiology is? I would guess that most of them know what their physiology is, right? Why wouldn't they know their physiology? So the idea that they would have, I know they want to live in what they have deemed themselves to be, but you would think especially athletes would understand that just by taking hormones doesn't make you change your physiology enough to not have an advantage over that other athletes. So this is, it seems to be the epitome of narcissism and selfishness that I can because I say I am, and because I say I am, you must accept this regardless of the reality of my physiology. I don't get it. Real quick. Thank you, Rod Line, for sponsoring the show. Thank you very much. Who says, because a few people are born with 11 fingers or 9 fingers doesn't mean our fingers are on a spectrum. Yeah, exactly. And I use the example of Down syndrome too. People with that particular chromosomal anomaly, I won't call it a defect because you can't call it defects anymore, aren't considered a different species, aren't considered a different type of human. Also, thank you, Tyre Alexander, for sponsoring the show one more time. And you're still the Street Bob Superstar sponsor today, who says, if you copy a copy of a copy of copy, eventually you'll make a mistake. And you go back to the copy before and correct your mistakes and continue forward. Genetics are the guys copying. Any animals, including humans, are the copies. Bugs aren't features. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with this. It's I don't know. I have a couple other more articles. Now let me go back to these articles though, because the Times of London did a few different articles on this. I want to finish these up though, because the things they ask in these statements are weird. So in typical circumstances, a swimmer winning a 500-yard freestyle title at the Women's NCAA Championships at 4 minutes and 33.24 seconds would not be headline news. There was nothing particularly alarming about the time, given that 5 years ago, Katie Ledecky had finished the race in 9 seconds faster. However, this time the winner was Leah Thomas, a trans woman who used to compete for the University of Pennsylvania's men's team. You would also think that changing from one team to the other in the middle of your college career would be against NCAA rules. But again, people transition when they do, so I guess that's why they allowed that. The Macaulay Aquatic Center in Atlanta, Georgia became the latest frontier in the culture wars over the inclusion of trans athletes in women's sport. Thomas raced for the men's team for a university of 3 years, finishing runner-up in the Ivy League championships over 500, 1,000, and 1,650 yards 3 years ago. Thomas began taking spironolactone, some stuff that I can't pronounce, of hormone replacement therapy, HRT, in May 2019 to reduce her testosterone levels, and needed to do so for a year before she would be eligible to switch from men's to women's competition. I did HRT knowing and accepting I might not swim again, Thomas told Sports Illustrated this year. I was just trying to live my life. Well, great. I applaud you for living your life. When you live your life, though, and demand that other people live your life, there's where I get concerned. I have no problem with you living your life. You should have every happiness and whatever that it takes for you to be a happy human being. The question is, does everyone else have to be on that same plane? If your life is a detriment to my life, and that is what kind of happens here, right? It's not a detriment, but you know what I mean? It takes away someone else's opportunity. Anyway, her times have dropped off. She did the 500 yards in 4:18.72 in men's competition, and she says she has shrunk about an inch, now believed to be 6 foot 1 inches tall. Critics say that the diminishing returns are not enough. In addition to her victory at the NCAA Championship, she finished 5th and 8th in the 200 and 100 yards. Such results have led to a situation in which Thomas's detractors say she is dominating women's swimming, whereas her supporters defend her by pointing out she's actually not as good as many people claim. Let's see. What does this say up here? She finished runner-up in the Ivy League championships 3 years ago. NCAA champion here. Didn't qualify in the NCAAs, even though she was runner-up in the Ivy League championships. Dominating? Whether she's dominating or not, I don't think it matters. The purpose, it still has an advantage over swimmers that are physiological females, especially competing at a high, in a collegiate level, Division I collegiate level. Anyway, the backlash to Thomas becoming the first known transgender Division I champion was swift. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida and Republican contender for the presidential election, really signed. Shut up! I wish I knew where that was coming from. It's got to be this one. Is that it? I bet it is. Anyway, the backlash. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, Republican contender for presidential election, signed a proclamation acknowledging Emma Wayant, the runner-up, by 1.75 seconds as the winner. His is not the first political intervention to this field. In April 2021, CNN reported 31 states had introduced bills banning transgender athletes from representing their gender in identities in sports. Martina Navratilova, Sharon Davies, and Erica Brown are among the women and sports stars who have criticized the decision to allow Thomas to compete, but anonymity is often prevalent on this side of the debate because you get just savaged by people. You can lose your job over shit like this. I'm risking this channel right now, even talking about it, because you're not allowed to go against the ideology. You can't. You're not. This is one of those places where I absolutely have the wrong opinion according to the powers that be. Now, fortunately, I'm old enough to not give a shit. Okay? Nancy Hogshead Maker, a 3-time Olympian champion and founder of Champion Women, organized a letter attributed to 16 unnamed members of the Pennsylvania swimming team last month. We fully support Leah Thomas in her decision to affirm her gender identity and to transition from a man to a woman. The letter read, however, we also recognize when it comes to sports competition that biology of sex is a separate issue from someone's gender identity. Biology, Leah holds an unfair advantage over competition in the women's category. So this basically runs the rundown. We've heard all this. But here's the article, though, and I'm going to finish with, because this is the one that, chaps my ass. It's time to end the hysteria in the transgender debate. Is it hysteria? Because again, it all comes back to what is the purpose of women's sports. Now look, if Leah Thomas wants to go swim in the local rec league swimming, whatever, more power to Leah Thomas. But these are areas where you made a personal decision to, go with what you believe, your subjective belief that you are a woman, because there's no criteria for it. Just a subjective belief. It's what you feel. There's no criteria. There's no definition. If a Supreme Court nominee can't define it, clearly you probably can't define it. What does it mean? That one debate on Dr. Phil, well, I can't define what that person believes is a woman because your definition of woman is within yourself. So that's subjective. There's no definition then. So we have to fall back in sports out of fairness to the reason we separate, I'll say, men and women, although the actual distinction for people who have gender ideology is we separate sports by physiology, male and female, not ideology, man and woman, or psychology, men and woman. But here's this one's. Check out the widely used photograph of Leah Thomas, the American transgender swimmer, after she won a major college event last week, and according to many, sent women's sports hurtling towards oblivion. As Thomas stands at the top of the step at the podium, she towers over her competitors. They appear to be snubbing her, gathering in a separate trio. It's a stark image of otherness. Philippa York, who has Robert Miller, was one of Britain's finest road cyclists, asked me to look at that photo and the powerful message it sends. She looks 6'10", York says. It's like the three women are actively avoiding her because she's giant and scary. Now, I'm pretty sure that this wasn't their intention. I don't think that was it. And also, if you notice, Leah is standing on a higher podium than the other three. So yeah, it makes her look huge. She's 6'1", or Leah Thomas is 6'1", and anyway. The truth was rather different. The other women were posing for a separate picture, never expecting to be in the same frame. One of them, Erica Sullivan, an Olympic medalist who finished third behind Thomas in the NCAA 500 freestyle in Atlanta, went on social media to say that the image distorted reality and is just not just in height differential, that other photos of her warmly congratulating Thomas did not suit the prevailing mood. Which is, how many trans-positive stories do you read? York asked. if there are 30 trans stories in a week in a newspaper, do you think any are about the happy person fitting well into life? Really? Really? It's interesting because, gosh, probably the first month of me making videos, there was a video about a man who was in his 50s who transitioned and was now living as a 6-year-old girl. And it was the story, and it was a Canadian TV station doing the story, and it was so positive and just so supportive of this 50-year-old male now living as a 6-year-old girl with his mommy and her mommy and daddy and sibling, talking about how, well, you know, my sisters wanted to be the older sister, so I'm 6 years old now. And it was such a loving, happy story, and I was just like, for real? Seriously? Anyway, she speaks with anger about, quote, hateful, unquote, coverage, but also with deep concern about the conclusions so many rush to when they hear of Thomas winning a race. Quote, a college race, end quote, she notes, with Thomas 9 seconds off Katie Ledecky's American record, and conclude that the sporting world as we know it is about to end. The number of people this is going to involve, you could not fill a room, never mind surround women's sport. She says, if the incidence of people being trans is 1 in 10,000, then figure out the incident of elite athletes from there. It felt important to talk to York before writing about Thomas and the wider discussions of trans athletes because how many of us know a trans person? I know 3. How much do we engage before forming an opinion? How much do we allow a photograph and a single result like that to shape our views? I don't care if Leah Thomas came in last in every race. That's not the point. Okay, it doesn't matter. Still, you're in a spot where you have a physiological advantage that is not atrophied enough by taking hormones. The past few years have been a constant ramping up of the idea that trans people are a threat to society. No. I don't know. Are trans people a threat to society? I don't know. Any more than elementary school teachers fucking their students? Probably not. But this idea that we can no longer be allowed to define it, that we can be here's the reason trans people are, quote, a threat to society. Because you're not allowed to have your own thoughts about it. Because if you have a thought that is not congruent with the ideology, you're in danger. A trans person doesn't physically put me in danger, but certainly puts me in danger of losing my livelihood and losing my ability to pay for things using a credit card, to have phone service, allowed to make videos on platforms that are currently the most popular, being able to use communication mediums that everyone else can use, unless you have wrongthink. Wrongthink gets you kicked out of society, and that harms you. And so, look, do we have to? And look, the trans people I know, I don't give a shit. I work with 2 trans people who are nice people. I don't give a shit. But if I have the wrong think about a physiological male competing against women in sports, that can get me in trouble. So is that now, granted, there are plenty of people who are less what's the good word? What's the word? Less accepting. I don't know if accepting is the word. I mean, I still can note differences in my personal life when I talk about these subjects that they don't want you to note. They don't want you to note the science about it. They don't want to hear that. I know that. Anyway. It felt important to talk to York before I said that. The past few years have been constant ramping up the idea that trans people are a threat to society, York says, meaning sport too. She makes a comparison with mainstream attitudes to homosexuality in the 80s. I bet you York didn't live in the 80s. You may not really know what you're talking about there, Miss York. But although of course, during the AIDS epidemic, there was a certain fear, and they tried to mask that by saying everybody can get this. This is happening to everybody, and Dr. Fauci kind of fucked that up, didn't he? Instead of focusing on people who we should have been concerned about. Wow, that sounds like another disease we talk about these days. Anyway, there's a hysteria about trans athletes, she believes, which is almost entirely derived out of a couple of high-profile cases. Thomas and Laura Hubbard, the transgender New Zealand weightlifter who arrived in the Tokyo Olympics in a blaze of mixed publicity, failed to complete any of her lifts and left with rather muted hope that the ideals of Olympian and inclusivity had been bolstered when the reality felt more like relief that she had departed so early off the stage. The scandal of Laura Hubbard, who qualified 16th and finished 16th, York says, was going to be the end of women's sport. We're almost 20 years into the IOC rules approved in 2004 for transgender athletes to compete. Since then, have there been any medalists at the Olympics or World Championships? No. Has there been any domination of any sports? No. Okay, let's see how this works out as more transgender athletes go into women's sports. I guess we'll find out. Which does mean there's not a need for discussion. Oh, there's not? Which is where York and I begin to disagree. Oh, so this writer actually disagrees. Well, disagrees with the need for discussion. I'm out of time here. We'll finish this one. The incidence does remain tiny, but can governing bodies ignore the issue? Are they not obliged to wrestle with the hugely complex equation of if and how fairness for cisgender female athletes? Why do you have to say cisgender female athletes? Because there are no, well, I'll just go with the word they say. It's an unnecessary adjective. Fairness for female athletes and inclusivity and safety in, say, combat sports can coexist, especially in combat sports, I would say. But York's skepticism about scientific findings into the impact of testosterone, well, then York's not the smartest student out there. And in particular, the lasting benefits of having gone through male puberty even after a transgender woman like Thomas goes through years of hormone treatment, 1 year, seemed to me to collide with a growing pile of evidence that cannot be ignored. Russ Tucker, the sports scientist who contributed to the decision for Women's International Rugby to ban trans players on safety grounds, even though there aren't enough at international level, York points out, believes sports are storing up problems for the future if they allow transgender women to compete freely across all disciplines, especially where power and strength are critical. But it's all what ifs, York counters. What about what actually happened? Where are the trans athletes dominating? Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of push to allow them before now. And, but, it just takes a few high-profile cases where then, I actually can do that. Then what happens? Well, we'll find that out, I guess. The NHS has about 160 kids who have access to puberty blockers. Out of those 160 kids, how many do you think are going to become elite athletes? It could be hundreds of years. In a debate that is so politicized and polarized, we should ask how often we hear a voice like York's compared to absurdly fearful stories questioning the motives of those who transition. You know what? I kind of agree with that because I don't think these first athletes doing this, at least high profile, are necessarily doing it just so they can win an event somewhere. But anyway, a piece about Leah Thomas walking around with genitalia out, York says, you just know it didn't happen. No, her teammates said it happened. Thank you. Sorry, her teammates said that and were uncomfortable about it. The issue of where they're going to get changed. Because you are trans does not mean you're going to sexually assault somebody. No one said that. But let's say there's a woman who has been sexually assaulted and is triggered by the sight of a penis in the women's locker room. Is that okay? Do you care about that person's feelings? Yeah, I'm guessing you don't. Anyway, where are the volunteers, York asked. Talk to anyone who has reduced testosterone. Never mind the levels of the IOC have set. They are not training 3-4 hours a day for 6-7 days a week. They are knackered. They are depressed. If anyone wants to volunteer for that, then go ahead. York talks of the profound impact of gender dysphoria. Wait, is this just the athlete? And how does York is the one who came in second place, right? Okay, who is York? Oh, York is York's the girl who came in second. No, Philippa York, who as Robert Miller was this. Oh no, you know who this is? I just figured out who this is. This is the person who, this is the person. Oh my God. Philippa York, isn't that she transitioned and then became world champion in, I think, 35 and over cycling, road cycling. Oh my God. That's who they're talking to. So this is a huge trans activist cyclist. Okay, now that makes sense. I'm like, how does this student know this much? York is a huge trans activist. Anyway, York talks the profound impact of gender dysphoria physically and mentally, which take many decades to come to terms with. When I transitioned, if I never went cycling again, I wouldn't have cared, she says. Leah Thomas said she is willing to give up swimming. In the United States, the fact that Thomas is allowed to compete in female events split opinions deeply, even within her own team at the University of Pennsylvania, which she represented for 3 years as well. One group of anonymous female teammates complained that Thomas had a biological advantage which would deny them opportunities, but when York sees the global fallout from an event in which one transgender swimmer came in first, fifth, and eighth in her 3 races, she cannot help but wonder how much deeper this goes than arguments about fairness in a swimming pool. When she sees the distortions of that photograph, it raises questions not just about sport, but fear and prejudice. Yeah, that's... Philippa York's an activist. Okay, now, just so you know, I do have I linked the Change My Mind Part 1 and Part 2 of Crowder did on this topic, just so you know where I kind of came up with some of this stuff. Also, there's an article about Hunter Biden, and this is a speculation that there might be an impeachment coming. Remember the New York Times all of a sudden decided that they were going to acknowledge that this laptop stuff is real? Is this part of the plan? Okay, in the chat, if you remember, what month and year will Biden no longer be president of the United States, according to P-Dog Knight? Put it in the chat. You will put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat, you know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to go. Do me a favor, though. before you do anything, hit the like button. I'm going to put all these links to all these articles and tweets and whatnot in the description down below in the second paragraph, and a single link where you can find all the links on one single web page. And other than that, please hit the like button if you haven't done so far. Hit the share the stream before, during, and after the stream. If you're watching a replay, put a comment in the comment section so that I know you dropped by. And finally, thanks to all of our sponsors today: Tall Person, Black Hebrew Israelite, Tyre, Alexander, Rod Line. I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. And Tyre Alexander, you are the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Also, tomorrow, episode 800. In fact, every donation tomorrow, I'm asking you to do 800 pennies. That would be great. I need the money. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. It is time for me to go, though. Thanks, everybody. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.